Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Business and Beyond's Feature Friday. I am Tania Bartolini, your host, and today I have a realtor guest. Her name is Allana Pinkerton. Allana helps homeowners, investors, and newcomers navigate the downtown St. Pete real estate market with ease. With 30 plus years in business, including founding a mortgage company and collaborating with global organizations, she brings a unique financial and strategic perspective to real estate. Her expertise ensures a smooth buying, selling, or investment process tailored to her clients' goals. Real estate is more than transactions, it's about trust. She prides herself on being adaptable, solutions driven, and always keeping her clients' best interests at heart. Whether you're relocating, upsizing, or investing, she'll guide you every step of the way with expertise, integrity, and a little fun along the journey. Thank you for being here with us today, Allana. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. This is amazing.
Oh, we're so happy to have you. And I can't wait to get some of these business nuggets from you to share with everybody. Before we do that, can you give me a little overview of what you do and why you got into this business?
Oh, absolutely. So we moved to St. Pete 2.5 years ago, uh, just on a whim, just because we loved it. We had already raised our two boys in Birmingham, Alabama. Came upon St. Pete a few years ago. Went, wow, this is where we need to end up. I grew up on the east coast of Florida, so it did bring me back to Florida. About 4 hours away from each set of the family. Right, some are on down in Boca, some are in Jacksonville. So it kind of put us halfway in between, just close enough, but far enough away. And in living here, there we've met so many people, and not it's not the old St. Pete. People used to say this is where people come to die. That's not the case anymore. So there's so many entrepreneurs and people in all kinds of different businesses. And then watching the buildings rise up around here and all the new shops and all the new restaurants, we've just grown to love St. Pete. I'd had a long career in child passenger safety of all things, and previously worked for a major corporation. And because of COVID, had lost, my career. And I tried a lot of different things since then. And the one thing everyone kept telling me is you should be a realtor. And, I kind of had this thing like, I don't want to be one of those realtors, but I'd had used realtors obviously personally for our own personal property. And I thought, you know what? I could do a better job. I could do a really good job because I know what annoyed me about what they didn't produce. That we were able to sell our property, but I was like, there could just be a better way of doing this. And then obviously in learning the trade or still learning, I'm always learning something new. uh, I'm realizing that clients, deserve special treatment. They deserve special care. People are moving to a brand new city. How does it feel? I know how it feels. And we didn't know a soul here. We didn't have a doctor in place. We didn't know, where the best places were to go if we had an emergency. Those little nuances of things that you just don't know. Who's the handyman in town? Who's the best, I don't know, bartender? Little things like that. And or what are the best clubs to join? So it's it's a little bit more than, like you said, more than a transaction. My clients get me for life if they want it. They get me as a friend if they want it. I'm just a phone call away or a text away or an email away, whatever they need. I just sold a home in a beautiful area called the Pink Streets. And the young couple just had a baby, and the dad was home for 2 weeks. He's like, I want to knock out some of these things that I want to, add to the house. Can you give me the name of an electrician, an HVAC guy? And so I was there to provide that for him because, it wasn't just close the deal and be done with it. I took care of them after the sale as well. Plus, I brought them a baby gift, obviously. I got to meet the baby.
That is amazing. So I was going to ask, what do you think is the most important aspect of having a business, of having your own business? And I think I can kind of guess that from what you had just said. But I don't want to put words in your mouth. So what do you think is the most important aspect of having a business?
Uh, by far, relationship building, like building a genuine, good relationship, knowing who you can build that relationship with and what type of relationship, can you build and getting to know those people. It might be that I don't speak to that client ever again if they don't want to, there might be more quiet and reserved. And so I would say relationships, I would say organizational skills, and then communication skills those are the three key factors in owning a business.
So we're going to come back to this in a little bit. I want to go back to, you said you worked in corporate, you had founded a mortgage company, you've collaborated with global organizations, you worked in corporate. As a business owner, what are some obstacles that you have faced? And more importantly, how have you overcome them, or how are you overcoming them?
Some of the obstacles are are being kind of alone in the journey and second guessing yourself. And I think one of the other major obstacles might be not really putting together that plan of what to budget for certain aspects of your business. So, like for me, marketing and branding are very important. And so it's kind of intimidating and a little scary to go, okay, I'll spend $1,000 this month on, advertising. That seems like a lot of money because if I don't sell any houses, I'm out $1,000, right? So it's getting in that mindset that sometimes you have to spend money to make money, and actually spending the money probably will force you to follow through with those strategic plans that you put the money aside for.
So one of them is the money mindset, right?
Yeah,
It's getting into that flow of spending and making and spending and making so that you have a good cash flow going and you're
exactly.
not oscillating too much, right? And then with the marketing, I'm of the opinion, and I'm wondering how you feel about this, is you need to have your marketing be steady so that you're not scrambling and getting a lot of clients. You stop your marketing and then your work stops and then you start doing marketing again. And then you have to wait and you have that lull for the marketing to start up again. Right. So I would rather see continuous marketing and be able to say, I'm sorry, I cannot help you at this time, but I can refer you to someone else, and turn away business if I couldn't handle it, rather than have that roller coaster of clients, marketing, stop marketing, no clients, more marketing, clients, less, right? Like, so what do you think has worked for you, or actually what has worked for you?
Yeah, so like you said, staying consistent is key. And I would say if you're, building that business and you're, have too many clients, then that might be the time that you hire an assistant to take care of those marketing tasks. And don't be afraid, again, put that money on the line because that's just going to push you further to, continue that strategic plan that you had in mind. So if you're too busy, if you're trying to be a jack of all trades in your business because you're a solopreneur, which most realtors are, then it might be time to bite the bullet and go, okay, let me take a leap of faith and skill and hire that person to handle the marketing, or maybe you hire a third person agency just to, so you're not spending a lot of money right up front until you can kind of get that squeaky wheel going a little bit smoother.
And I love, so I'm going to tie up a couple of things that you've said, and correct me if I'm wrong again, but this is my understanding of what you're talking about, is keep your marketing steady so that when you get a little busy and you can't handle everything, you need to start delegating and hiring people to take care of those for you. One of the other things that you said is budgeting and
Mhm.
knowing where your money is going and when, which I think will also help you figure out when to hire that person, how much you can afford to hire them for, etc. One thing that you didn't say, which is the underlying theme of all of this, is that you're the one who is out there doing the sales, building those relationships. And so, how much more is your time worth than paying someone a little bit of money to do the marketing and those administrative tasks and those other things that have to be done, but not necessarily need your skill set or your skill level?
Right. I think it's essential because that assistant can't go to a buyer's consult or a listing consult. It has to be me. I'm the one that's licensed and able to do those, do those kind of transactions, those meetings, and speak with the buyers or the sellers. So it's worth, a lot in the end if you really, keep track of, what you're spending and what you're making. And, maybe not be, I guess, as a realtor, not to be in a hurry to try to like knock it out of the park like the first year and keep all that money just for yourself. Go ahead. My broker's really funny because he's like, if you want more things, you just go, make more money. And he's right. So just taking a look at the big picture, having it in black and white, because if it's not written down, it's not going to get done. Like you and I, we wouldn't have gotten this podcast done if we didn't schedule it on our calendars, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I am really big on planning,
Hmm.
being a business plan and a budget. And if it's in your head, it's just a dream. It is not a plan.
You're right. You're right.
So put it on paper. You can always change it as circumstances change. You can change it as you have more information, as you get more data, but you have to have a written plan so that you can
Exactly.
go back to it and see, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Is it working? Do I need to pivot? Right?
Yes. Have those goals written down. Have somebody else hold you accountable if you need to. There's some, we belong to a great group, networking group where we, can, find somebody to be our accountability partner. So find that person.
I love that. Um, Harvard has done a research study that shows if you have an accountability partner, your chances of success are raised by 95%.
And don't make it your spouse.
So, yeah, we don't want to get into a family.
Because I don't want to hear that from my spouse. Like, what are you doing today? None of your business. Stop giving me a hard time. I know I didn't do that right.
That's and finding the right accountability partner makes a
Exactly.
big difference. Yes, that's true, because sometimes we don't align with people on certain levels and we align with them on another level. And so it's very important, I think, as you said, to make sure that whoever you're working with, whoever you're having hold you accountable or you're holding accountable, that you understand and have a good relationship in that particular sense, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Um, so I know we've kind of talked about this a little bit, but can you expand on what makes you unique in the way that you help others and in the way that you're a realtor?
Well, personally, on a personal level, if somebody needs my help, I'm going to help them, and might not have anything to do with real estate. A friend that has a nonprofit organization needed me to help serve dinner last night, so I was upstairs in our Sky Lounge area, our community area, just had on my apron and serving on the right, bussing on the left. I was learning how to be a waitress, so it was really a lot of fun. But she needed help. If somebody needs, answers to some kind of question in the city, then I'm like, I'll find out the answer for you. I mean, I'm just, there as a resource. And as far as a realtor, I'm going to give white glove service. Like I said, when the transaction's long over and gone, I'm still going to be there. You need an interior designer, I'm going to find the right one for you. You need an organizer specialist, I'm going to find that one for you. You need a tea time because you want to try a country club. I'll reach out to the membership director and help you out. So just giving that white glove service, tailoring to the individual need of the client, I'm working with one client who's a chief financial officer. Guess what? He's a spreadsheet guy. So instead of just emailing him different, listings, I put it all in a spreadsheet so he can take a look and, the address, the square footage, the link to the listing page, and then like a little notes column so we can keep track of what his thoughts were for each one of those listings. So just know your client and know what their needs are, and then provide those needs that they maybe they might not even know what they need, and then all of a sudden I'm giving it to them.
So I love that. Meet them where they are,
Mhm.
right? Give them the service that they need, not the service that you want to give.
Exactly. And so, with another client, they were, a young couple, very pregnant. And so with them, I didn't want to overwhelm them. They got 4 listings at a time for them to look at. They wanted old and charming and character because he's in construction. He can do anything. And I'm looking at them going, that's the last thing you need.
Well, I mean, pregnant baby on the way. That's a lot of work
So
by
I threw in the mix. I gave them everything they asked for, but I threw one in the mix that was completely renovated, but it had character, and that's the one they ended up choosing because as a mom, we had these instincts about us.
So you're bringing all of your experience, your relationships, your friends and family, and everything that you know about people into the mix as a realtor and not just selling a property.
Exactly. Well, you have to be, right? And I've had a lot of experience in my previous careers. It was all about relationship building, being a liaison between community organizers and certified child passenger safety instructors, with the company. And so building relationships with influencers on social media and doing media interviews. So, I have to be poised and ready to go and interact with people from all walks of life because I was in communities of need, and so they deserve the same respect that a guy on Wall Street gets. So knowing just treat people like human beings, basically like they should be. I mean, it's not hard. It's not rocket science.
But you also said that one of the things that make you unique, I think, is the fact that you said previously you had a client who needed an electrician and a plumber and different things, and you were able to supply those. And all of that is through building relationships with all kinds of different people, just
Yeah.
building relationships in your community and getting to know who's around you, what's around you.
Right. Being
Um,
that go-to person. Like everyone's got the guy. I'm gonna be the guy, everybody comes to for whatever it is they need. And then do it in a timely manner. I am quick to answer a phone call, a text message, an email very promptly. I don't think people should wait 24 hours or 48 hours. I mean, unless there's just unforeseen circumstances that I can't get to you, but I'm not going to ignore a text message and I'm going to answer right away. I even go as far as, and this is kind of an industry little probably pet peeve, but when I show another realtor's listing, they always ask me for feedback. A lot of times realtors won't give the feedback, especially if their client isn't interested, they just ignore it. I go ahead and give them feedback because I know their client is looking for the feedback, and that's important. So I'm going to be that professional realtor as well for the other realtors, not just for my clients.
that is amazing because that also builds more relationships.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right? Um, so what where do you see your industry going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh, that's a good question. So much has happened probably just in the last 5 to 7 years, I would say, especially, when the world turned upside down and we weren't supposed to be in person and all this stuff. So I think in some ways, I think we'll kind of stay steady the way that we are, but there's always new tools out there, new technology to use. our brokerage in itself is a global organization, and our broker is big on educating us all the time. So we have the camaraderie, plus we're getting the education on a regular basis. So I can literally show up at the office pretty much every week and sit in on some kind of class that I'm learning something new. Of course, the board of realtors, here in town offer classes as well, and just, staying, in touch with the industry stats. St. Pete is really rocking and rolling, so if you're wanting to move to Florida, St. Pete is a jewel, that's for sure. We're not the big Miami, but you can get the, urban living in a high rise here and be, walk steps away from everything that you need, from grocery stores to restaurants to shops, museums, theater, a boardwalk along the water, all kinds of entertainment. I mean, you name it, it's here in downtown St. Pete.
Yeah. So in the next 5 to 10 years, though, do you think that St. Pete is going to continue to have that small town feel kind of charm? Do you think it's going to grow and be more like a Miami or a Jacksonville or an Orlando? I mean, where do you see um that city kind of moving towards?
I think we'll still have the mix of a small town feel, because the people that are moving here, people that have lived here for a long time, they're demanding that it's kind of stays that way. They're kind of like kicking us about growth. They're kicking and screaming away from it in some ways. But I think with the city, the Chamber of Commerce bringing in the right kind of businesses, finding local people to open up businesses as well. Local art. We have so many artists here. I think we'll still have that small town feel, and especially the way the city is set up, the way you can navigate your way around the city. And it's not like really spread out. I'll see my neighbors out and about, and we might be a mile down the road in downtown on the water somewhere, walking on the pier. It's just conducive to sort of getting in a routine and maybe doing the same things, on a regular basis, going to the same restaurants or the same walking path or whatnot. Like, we have a habit of just going up to the Vinoy Hotel and sitting on the veranda, maybe cooling off with a glass of water and something from the bakery. So, all we have to do is call up a friend and say, we're at the Vinoy, and boom, they come. So I think it'll still have that small town feel, but yet if you want a little bit of the more city life, you'll have that too. And you just got to come and check it out.
So that's with the city that you're specializing in.
Yes.
What about with realtors? So my question has to do with competition.
Mm-hmm.
Every business owner has a competitor or two or many. And real estate has a lot of competition as far as realtors go, because especially after COVID in Florida, everybody wants to move to Florida. So we've had this influx of realtors in Florida. And so where do you see that going, and how do you deal with all that competition? How does that affect you?
Yeah, historically, most realtors don't close more than one transaction. Some don't close any. They just, they're getting their license for one reason or another, and it's not really to dive into the industry. Those that do dive in head first, they're pretty fierce. I mean, they're out there, they're hitting the pavement and they're working every angle possible. I always say there's enough sun to shine on everyone. And so I really try not to compare myself to other realtors, although some days it's hard. It's like, oh, that is really cool social media she's doing. I need to step up my game. But you really don't. You have to realize, just like there's somebody for everybody, in a loving partner relationship. I think the same thing happens in real estate. And people, I mean, sometimes you're going to have to interview to get that listing or be the buying agent, and you just let your your assets shine and be humble and genuine. And, that person, if we jive, then we're going to connect and we're going to come to an agreement on working together. So I don't really worry too much. I mean, I'm in a huge office right now and there's only one other realtor working right now. That's not to say people aren't working from home or whatever, but it's just there's enough sun to shine on everyone. And I think if you pick a niche and stay within your niche, so you're not like casting a huge net and trying to do everything and be everything to everybody. I think that's helpful. So you're not competing against a lot of people. I mean, I've got some big heavy hitters. I have a woman in town that's been here for 20 years. So and she's got, she has staked her flag in the ground and everybody knows her. And she's a delightful lady. And I'm like learning, as I watch her and see her team work. She's got a team of people that work for her, and she's worked hard to get to where, so it's almost motivating. It's kind of like going to a gym. Some people hate going to a gym. I love going to a gym, and I don't get intimidated. I'm like, I want to look like that, and so it's more inspiring to me.
That I absolutely love what you just said. It is constructive comparison.
Yes.
Right? It's using the comparison as a motivation. It's using the comparison to see whether or not you can do something better yourself. I love that because I see a lot of people compare negatively.
Yeah.
Right? And it is not conducive to success at all. But when you compare in a constructive manner, how can I get there? How can I up my game to match that? How can I do better? I think that really lends itself to success and happiness.
Yeah, even when you're looking at people that have a different economic stature than you do. I mean, I have friends that are millionaires and billionaires, and I don't look at it and go, "Oh, I can't call them for dinner." They have more money than I do. I'm like, "Hey, let's meet up." I want to learn from them. I like hanging out with them. They're actually lovely people. So and it motivates me more to be just as successful as they are, and that's what matters is what's. And I know not everybody's like that. My sister once told me, Allana, everybody's not like you. Because I'm like trying to push her to do something. She goes, I am not like you. I can't be like you. That's what she says, which I'm like, why not? You don't have to be exactly like me. Just be something more. Just be something more than what you already are. Because if you're not happy with where you're at, then change. Just like one little change. That's all. You don't have to like make this huge life leap into, moving to, across the country, but just make one little change at a time and try it out for 30 days and just be honest with yourself. I put on too much weight since living here. That's the only bad thing about being in St. Pete. I mean, I walk everywhere, but you can't exercise your way out of a bad diet. So if I'm not happy, it's nobody's fault. It's mine. And I know what it takes to get the weight off. So it's my responsibility.
And so a couple of other nuggets that have come out here as well is not everyone is the same. That is
Right.
100% true. And that's what makes the world go round.
Exactly.
What makes business fun. That's what makes living fun is learning new things from different people, learning different perspectives. And it's okay that we're not all the same,
Exactly.
right? It would be so boring if everybody was the same.
So boring. It would be very boring.
Right. And so, again, with that constructive comparison that you were talking about, is how do we learn from what someone else is doing? And do we even want to apply it to how we're doing things or not? Does it align with us or not? And if not, don't worry about it. Don't think about it.
Exactly.
Don't do it.
Yeah, if you're second guessing yourself on something, you probably don't need to do it. Go with your intuition. I mean, go with your gut feeling. If something smells bad, it's probably bad.
And that is awesome. So now another question I want to ask you, because you are successful and you have built this reputation for yourself and this niche for yourself in this career in such a short amount of time, what have you found? Or actually, let me back up first, is what is working in your business and how did you get it to work well?
So, in full transparency, I became a licensed realtor just back in November. So, just what, 6 months ago. I have sold one house so far, but that's actually pretty good for a pretty new realtor and not even doing it full time, right? I have a buying client right now. I have another buying client coming on in a few months, two of them actually. What has really worked is being the genuine person that I am, doing consistent mailers in my building. So when you're a realtor, you have a farm and you choose an area, a neighborhood, and you farm. So that's where you're going to do all your marketing on a regular basis. And so I live in a high-rise building, 301 units. Everybody gets a mailer, even the real other realtors in the building. And those mailers don't necessarily say, "Hey, I'm a realtor, call me, I want to help you buy or sell your property." It gives, the best dog parks in the area. These are the events coming up in the area. So it's not always about just promoting who I am. And then once a month, I'm also dropping off these cute little gifts, and they're nothing. They might cost $1, but I'll put a little tag on it again, listing maybe the events happening around town or some statistics about St. Pete. And they love them and they thank me for them profusely. It's like the silliest little gift and they just love it. And because I've done that, when I'm on the elevator, even with a stranger, they're like, "Aren't you the realtor in the building?" And that's who you want to, that's how you want to be known. So consistently giving out good information. We also have a social platform in our building. So, I don't go on there and bitch about things like, some of the residents. I provide some kind of information. I'm usually promoting a charity, or if I know somebody in the building has a business, then I'm helping promote their business because they might not feel comfortable doing it. So it's just being neighborly and, knowing what your farm wants and just being there as a resource. The other thing I do is I make sure I'm visible all the time. So there's about 2 days a week that I'll work in our lobby because everybody goes in and out the doors all day long. And so I just hang out there with my computer and I work in the lobby. I don't really work because I don't get much done because everybody stops and talks to me, which is great. And we might not always talk about real estate. We talk about other things that are going on. So those are the things, just, being myself. It's been a lot of fun.
And that's another nugget. Be yourself, be strategic in what you're doing, where you're hanging out, how you're marketing, right? And get your branding and your name known.
And one of the key things our broker always says is, a shy salesperson has hungry children. So you can't be shy about whatever your industry is, because all of us are always selling something. You might not think you're a salesperson, but even if you're a doctor, you're selling your services, right? So we're all selling something. Just don't be shy. If you have a great product and you're excited about what you're doing, just don't be shy about it.
Now, have you found that all of these things that you're doing now in real estate, are they the same types of things that you did in your mortgage company when you were doing other things and other careers?
Yes. So with the mortgage company, we started off with a simple advertisement that I created for our local newspaper. And the phone started ringing. So we were very lucky. We would attend, business networking groups, like similar to what BNI is, I guess, back in the day. So we were always networking with people and, handing out business cards. That was back in 2000. Things were a little different. With the corporate job, Yes, I was building relationships. I was going from state conference to state conference to state conference where, people can actually see my face, talk to me in person, and we can actually, get to know each other, and building that relationship that way, hosting webinars for them so they can earn continuing education units, hosting the certification program at the corporate office so the local people can get their certification through in the company I was working for. So yeah, it's the same thing. It's just a, different net. I was doing videos all the time for the company. So we're putting out YouTube videos, those kind of ways, just like we do now. They all seem to manifest into, results that you're looking for.
Wonderful. So how can people contact you?
Well, they can contact me a lot of ways. First and foremost, I love to talk on the phone. Maybe I'm old fashioned, but 205-542-5304 is my cell phone. They can text me, they can call me, leave me a voicemail if I don't answer, or leave me a text. My email, allanacpinkerton@gmail.com. And then, of course, on Instagram, it's Allana Pinkerton. My YouTube channel is Selling St. Petersburg. So that's launching with podcast on a regular basis coming up in the future. So there's all kinds of ways to reach out to me.
Well, all of that information will be repeated at the end of this segment, and also it will be in the chat below. And before I let you go, Allana, if you could give our business owners one piece of advice to help them succeed, what would that be?
I think overall, the best thing for success is probably get a mentor. I think that would be, you need that person to hold you accountable, bounce ideas off of, get yourself organized, and be there to, help you along the way. Because doing it alone, I mean, you can do it, but your health is going to sacrifice, your mental health is going to get sacrificed. So just have that mentor to help you along the way. And it doesn't have to be somebody that you pay for. I mean, take a look at somebody in your family that's successful that might help you, or an old friend, and just reach out to somebody, and or go ahead and invest the money. You don't have to spend a fortune on paying a professional mentor, but make sure they have references and everything, because there's all kinds of coaches out there to claim to be coaches.
That who've never had a business, right?
Yeah. Just had a coaching business.
Yeah. So always vet whoever it is that you're going to hire.
And have a tax accountant. Definitely have a good accountant. And a good attorney.
Well, Allana, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for sharing all of those wonderful business nuggets. And I know you business owners out there, even if you're not realtors, you can use a lot of the stuff that Allana has talked about in your business to make you successful and your business successful. Until next time, have a great day.